Herkese merhabalar, Kimi Mila'dan. Ben Damla. Bugün çok kıymetli, çok değerli bir başka arkadaşımla beraberiz. Sevgili Muhammed ta Mısırlardan bize merhaba diyor. Hi Muhammed, how are you?
Hi, Damla. I'm very good. How are you?
Very well, thank you so much. It's so happy to see you.
The same, my friend.
Ee, Birazdan Muhammed kendisinden de bahsedecek ama kendisi Mısırolog ve aynı zamanda da tur rehberi. Ama diğer tur rehberlerinden biraz farklı çünkü kadim bilgiler üzerinden ziyaretler düzenliyor önemli mabetlere. Burada ritüellerden bahsediyor, tarihinden bahsediyor ve hieroglifleri bu dilde aslında birazcık anlatıyor. Şimdi gelin ondan dinleyelim. Mohammed, can you just tell us about you and also what you are doing during your visits to different temples in Egypt?
Okay. If you want to know about myself and how I became involved in this field, I was born in Memphis, which is part of a huge ancient site. My city was called Badrashin. Badrashin includes Memphis, Saqqara, Dashur, Abu Sir, Abu Jarab. So this was the background of my house. When I was around 10 years old, my school took us to Saqqara, and it was my first time to be there, and I was very, very in places. Like imagine that my first visit was Saqqara, and my first sight in Saqqara was Serapio. Okay, so for a kid 10 years old, seeing the huge boxes from granite, I was fascinated, and I saw the tourist foreign people, which was my first time to see them. So from that moment, I decided to become a tour guide because I saw a tour guide leading these groups. So I decided to become a tour guide when I was 10 years old. So when I graduated from Faculty of Tourism and Hotels, I studied history and Egyptology, modern Egypt, Coptic Egypt, Greco-Roman Egypt, Islamic Egypt. And with every civilization, I studied everything about constructions, about traditions, about religion. So I became a tour guide for almost 20 years now. Leading tours for 20 years, mostly for the English-speaking clients. But I became more interested in what we can call it alternative history. Of course, I studied the history written in books where you can find it everywhere, what we call it mainstream history. But I found there are so many mistakes, and not only mistakes, but also there are so many gaps, many questions without answers. That's why I decided to find the answers, or at least to point and to make sure that people will understand that we are missing some information there. So I started to be interested in a new field about the ancient Egyptian technology. I met so many people, so many writers and authors and researchers, academics in the field of engineering. And also that field led me to another field, that the people who talks about energy and talks about the ancient Egyptian wisdom also. So I can tell you now, I talk about ancient Egypt from a different concept, from the concept of not technology only, but the ancient Egyptian knowledge and wisdom.
Yes. Now I'm gonna ask you a very, very basic, very, very general question, but I think the answer has the secret also, the key to the ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge and technology. Mm-hmm. How were the pyramids built? By aliens, by ancient technology, by ancient wisdom? What is the secret?
Okay, let me tell you, we have many answers for this question. The basic answer, the mainstream answer, it was built by workers, by humans, ancient Egyptians, lots of work and lots of muscles. Okay, and because they had a good technique, because they were good masons, and they spent a quiet time, like 20 years, and they built the pyramid. That would be a good idea for many years, for a long time, until people started to use modern technology. We started to use lifters and machines in our modern times. And when we started to compare what our machines can do compared to the pyramid size and the blocks and the heavy weights, we started to figure out that no, the human muscles cannot do this, because our machines also cannot do this. Some of our technology in the last 20 years can build the pyramids, but it will require long time and too much work, non-stop work for years. Okay, I'm talking about our modern technology in the last 20 years. Okay, the story of aliens or extraterrestrials build the pyramid, I can agree with this story under one condition: if we have the pyramids only. If this kind of complicated techniques and great work didn't or wasn't repeated in any other places. But we have more than the pyramids. We have the pyramids, we have the megalithic statues in Luxor, in Aswan, we have complicated designs, we have the obelisks, okay? So there are so many examples. So I don't imagine that extraterrestrials are going to come and stay in Egypt and they are going to build all over Egypt, okay? Series of tunnels and shafts under the ground. So my guessing that there was in our lifetime, for as humans, a civilized civilization with high technology, and they built all of these sites. And this civilization, because of a disaster, because of the cataclysm, because of a solar flare, because of a certain type of disaster, maybe not one, maybe two, disappeared. And unfortunately, we cannot find any of their tools yet, okay? But we found so many of their products, so many of their constructions, okay? So to answer your question in a clear way again, I believe that there was a human civilization with high technology and great knowledge built those sites, either in Egypt or outside Egypt. So I'm talking also about Mexico, I'm talking about maybe China, about Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, okay? So there was once or a previous ancient civilization with high technology.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you another question. I think ancient Egypt was one of the best history writers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they noted every details, I think, on the hieroglyphs, on the columns or temples. So is there anything about aliens or space?
Okay, also that is not easy question to answer, because I can tell you immediately no. Okay, like
Yeah.
an academic, I will say no, zero, they didn't mention anything. But we must put the right definition of the word extraterrestrials. Okay, because we can come to what we call them the knitters. I can see the knitters like extraterrestrials. Okay, because unfortunately, who explained that word to us? The early Europeans who came to Egypt between the 18th and 19th century. They explained and translated the word knitter as God, as a religious style. Okay, so instead of saying Ra is the sun, we started to say Ra is the sun god. Bitah is the god of wisdom, and like this. Nut is the goddess of the sky. Hathor is the goddess of music. Okay, so I see them as extraterrestrials. How? You will find that some of these knitters are colored in blue color, like a moon. Okay, so when we see this color, it is the color of the sky. So we can call them extraterrestrials, but I'm not necessarily talking about aliens like what we imagine, people from Mars. No, they could be extraterrestrial powers,
Yeah.
and maybe energies and beaming. Okay, so That is the answer. So the ancient Egyptians were very knowledgeable about the universe, not only about the ground, about our planet. No, they also were looking to the sky, and they made good analysis. So I can tell you that the ancient Egyptians were aware with our solar system, and also they were aware with our galaxy. Okay, they didn't just mention our star, the sun, and some planets. No, they were talking about the bigger scale, which is the galaxy itself. Okay.
Just like Tesla, I guess.
Like what?
Tesla, the
Like that?
scientist.
Ah, yes. Okay. And
Because
even more. There is one of the small pieces at the Egyptian Museum. We call it bat. It's like a tree with two main branches. And the Egyptologists themselves who call it the cosmic cow. Okay. And the cosmic cow in another meaning means the galaxy, our galaxy, the Milky Way. Yeah. And guess what? Where we got this word Milky Way from? The cow, the milk of the cow.
Wow.
Okay. So the ancient Egyptian call it the cosmic cow. But in our modern science, we call it the Milky Way.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you another question, actually. Can we say that the ancient Egyptians were much more related to divine? I mean, all of their chakras were very balanced and activated so that they can get some inspiration from the divine itself.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Look, okay, and we must know also that when we talk about ancient Egypt, we must talk about not just one ancient Egypt. The latest ancient Egypt is what I call it now, the dynastic Egypt, which was 3000 BC. But my belief that there was earlier ancient Egypt, and it could be earlier and earlier and earlier, okay? Those earlier ancient Egypts were more advanced than the latest one. The latest one was copying what they memorized from their ancestors, but they didn't have that great knowledge and science like the previous ones. Okay, so we found many of the writings of from dynastic Egypt, but I believe that it wasn't their own knowledge. It was the knowledge of the ancestors before this civilization, which we are talking now about the civilization pre 12,000 or 10,000 BC. Okay, pre the Göbekli Tepe time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we believe that there was a civilization ended around 9,700 BC. And those people were very, very close, or not close, they were dealing with nature in harmony. They understood everything about nature and how to get all the benefits of nature without harming anything, without harming the trees and the rivers and the sky. And that's why they had this type of harmony. And their symbols, which was, we were lucky that we found those symbols represented in the hieroglyphics written by the dynastics, like the word Nefer, as an example. You know the word Nefer, which we call it beautiful or beauty.
Nefertari.
Exactly. So the first part is Nefer. It is one symbol. It's like a long line with something round at the base, okay? And like a stroke at the top or the neck. Most of the people, when they see it, they don't recognize what it is. It is the air pipe of the human and the two lungs and the throat, okay? So what is the beauty of this? If I explain it to you this way, so you can tell me, okay, Mohammed, why we call this symbol beautiful? Because this symbol is what? This symbol is harmony. You inhale, then your lungs will have the air and then will go through in a nice way, then will come out, especially when you are toning or when you are singing, okay? If you don't have this harmony, it will not be beautiful. If you have it, it will be beautiful. So when you listen to something with harmony, we admire it. But no harmony, no beauty. So we call it beautiful because we understand that this combination is the combination of harmony. And so many symbols like this. It shows that the ancient Egyptian was very talented in dealing with nature. And that's why one of the interesting things most of the people don't know, that in ancient Egypt also was a court system, a judge and police, okay, to capture criminals. And I found that one of the crimes was considered as a very serious crime. Maybe not a crime at all in our modern time. Polluting the Nile. That was a serious crime. And they could cut part of the nose or part of the ear as a punishment of this. A special punishment. So don't pollute the Nile. Don't pollute nature. And sometimes they send the criminal to the oasis for 3 or 4 years, okay? Which we don't do nowadays, unfortunately, not only in Egypt, but I believe everywhere else, okay? So you see, so this is how the ancient Egyptians were dealing with nature. Physical and also spiritual. That's why when we say Hathor, they call it the goddess of music and joy and love, which is okay. But the original meaning of Hathor is the lady of resonant. It is not music because it is like nice music. No, it is resonant because that resonant was used for healing. Okay, so the ancient Egyptians were using natural elements, creating resonant in a certain vibration to use it for healing. So their bodies were responding to natural things and elements.
Wow. I have 2 questions now. Before I forget, I should ask.
Okay.
First one is, you just mentioned that they said cosmic cow, right? Mohamed, are you there?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if I'm not wrong, Hathor has also a symbol with a cow head. So is there any relation between it? This is the first one. And the second one is, if I'm not wrong, there was a sound healing place near Saqqara,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I mean the hospital.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And they were used some vibrations, I guess. Mm-hmm. So can you please talk about these things also?
Okay, yes. About the first question, that the cosmic cow and the connection with Hathor, because Hathor, yes, has the face, or she is the power of the cow. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think there are a connection in between, because Bat, that is the name of the cosmic cow, B-A-T, and she is the feminine word of Ba. We have Ba and Bat. We know Ba is the spirit or the soul. Bat is the female spirit. Okay? Because everything in ancient Egypt was 2. Duality. Masculine, feminine, masculine, even Ra. Most of the people also don't know that we have Ra, we have Ra'it. We have Ra, the man, the male, and we have Ra'it, the female.
Wow.
We have Amun, we have Amunet. We have Atum, we have Atumet. Okay? So everything was male and female. So Bat is the female spirit. And why she was represented as a cow, we are not very sure. But in another, maybe because of the 2 horns, to make sure we understand that our galaxy has 2 main branches. And that is, if you Google the word or the image of our galaxy, the Milky Way, it will show a circle with 2 main arms, circular arms. So I think they try to find the nearest item with this kind of look, okay? But Hathor, no, Hathor is part of the sun. So Bat is in this, it means now bigger than Hathor.
Yeah.
Older and bigger in the concept of Bat is bigger from the concept of Hathor. You know what is Hathor? And most of the people also don't know this. Hathor is the sun the rays of the sun, but the nice rays, the rays doesn't harm you. Like early in the morning, like the sun during the winter time, that kind of sun you enjoy on your face or on your skin. Sekhmet is the opposite. Sekhmet is the sun during the noon time or afternoon, that strong sun. Okay, and both are important. Hatur important for some kind of fruits and some kind of vegetables, and Sekhmet is very important for dates, for wheat, for corn, for the hard seeds. You know, without this heat waves we have in Egypt, we will not have dates. Yes, we don't like the heat waves, but we still have the result of this, which is dates at September, and wheat and corn and those hard seeds.
Wow.
Okay. The second question was what about what?
The sound healing hospitals in
Yes.
Saqqara.
There is a place in the complex of the step pyramid. They call it Hepsed, and Hepsed means the festival which happens every 30 years. There was a festival happened like this to renew the powers of the king and to show that the king is still young and can continue ruling the country as a young man, not as an old man. But that place is like very huge, and it has chambers. And when you go to each tiny chamber, you can hear a kind of a sound, not an echo. It's a sound for running water, something rumbling. Okay. And so we know that in each side there was 14 rooms or 14 shrines. So it doesn't make sense to call it Hepsed. Okay. So we think that this place was a place for healing using sound. And in the middle, there was a square or rectangular designs like a table, but from stone. So we think that the patients used to go and lay over those tables, stone tables, okay? And the healers used to go one in each shrine. So in this case, we have like 28 healers. And why 14 and 14, 28? Because those are the cycles of the moon, okay? And someone will tell me, why 28? The moon is 30, right? 30 days, 30 or 9 or 29.
29, I guess.
And 30. Some months are 29. And like that's why in Ramadan, sometimes we have 30, sometimes 29s. And every lunar month is like this, according to if we see the crescent or no. Okay?
Yeah.
But even if it was 29s or 30, it's still 28 cycles, not 30, because we have 3 days, it is just full moon.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so it changes every day, except when it is full moon, it lasts for 2 or 3 days. We actually have 28 different shapes for the moon. So what is the connection between us and the moon? The moon is affecting liquids in our planet. Okay, oceans, rivers, the tide. So what about your body? Do we have liquids in our body?
A lot of.
Exactly. So that is why the philosophy of the moon as a huge healer was also used and practiced in ancient Egypt. That's why maybe I will tell you something strange also. As Muslims, we know that Prophet Muhammad used to fast the 3 days in the middle of the lunar months, every month. Okay, 14th, 15th, 16th, and sometimes they start with 13th. We didn't know why. So I figured out that that is the reason, that when you fast means you don't eat and drink. So you will have less beverages or less liquids in your body. So you are not going to be affected badly during those days. So you will have like a balance, okay? So that place, we don't call it the Hepsed place anymore. We call it the hospital. And we have listened and heard this kind of sound for years now. For more than 20 years, I keep hearing, and not only me, but all my guests, they can hear the sound, as I told you, as running water underneath. Okay. And it is very relaxing sound, by the way. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, during Ottoman Empire, here also there were special places for healing, and they were using only the sound of the water and some kind of music to give
Interesting.
some therapies.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I didn't know this before.
Yeah, and also about the water, you know, Emoto, Dr. Emoto from Japan.
The one was about the, yes, a little bit.
Yeah, you know, he has a very famous
Uh-huh.
experiment about the water. He is saying,
Mhm.
I love you, and I hate you, I hate you.
Exactly. And the water will change the molecular structure.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So there are some lots of proofs about the water and the
Mhm.
effect of the water. And also, we are all suggesting our clients when they are asking what should I do during the full moon. We are also saying that you should eat less, you shouldn't drink lots of thing, and you should just be peaceful and that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Interesting.
So I think it is coming from Egypt.
As I always say, Egypt is the source, because I have some crazy idea that all humans one day, and our ancestors one day, they lived together in Egypt. It could be the same Egypt and could be bigger Egypt or Kemet. Okay,
Kemet, yeah.
because I traveled to many places, and I was in the States 2 months ago. Um, I think you can recognize most of the nations by the look of one citizen, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially the nations who still keep the same features. They were not open like the States is different. But when you look to the Mexicans, you will find that you can recognize. When you look to the Indians, Chinese, of course, and the Asians, the Africans, Europeans. But when you come to Egypt, you will be surprised. We have features from almost everywhere.
Yeah.
And you cannot say this is an Egyptian. Like when some people see me, they will call me, are you Saudi? Are you Kuwaiti? Maybe also, are you Egyptian? Are you Libyan? Okay, but you don't have a feature for the Egyptians, right? That is why I'm saying, because we are the origin of humans. If you travel to the north of Egypt, Alexandria and the north coast, you will find that they are very close to southern Europe. If you go to the west of Egypt, the Western Desert, they are copy from the north of Africa, Libyans and Tunisians, Moroccan, even the language. The Amazigh language is practiced in Siwa Oasis in Egypt, the same language in North Africa. If you go to East Egypt, the Eastern Desert, they are copy from Saudi, Kuwait, Yemen, even the same traditions, the same type of dress, the same language. South of Egypt, Aswan, copy from Africa, and middle of Egypt is mixed from everywhere. Okay, so my story, and that is ancient, not modern, because someone will tell you, because Egypt was invaded hundreds of times. No, if you go to the Egyptian museum and focus on the features of the statues, you will find thousands of different features. And I'm gonna release a video soon about it. I'm like collecting the information data. I made hundreds or thousands of pictures for most of the statues and faces in the Egyptian museum, and they are representing the same situation like now, like today. Okay, so it is not modern because we were invaded by the French, by the British, by the Arabs, by the Ottomans. No, that is an ancient style. Okay, so here is my story again. All the humans one day were Egyptians.
I believe so. And last week, I talked to one of my friends from Peru. He's a shaman and he is using different instruments for making healing music. And he said that, you know what, the first drum was made in Egypt, and actually the women were playing the first drums. And I was, really? And he said, yes, you should research. What do you think about it?
Of course. We have Bess. Do you know what they call him? Neter or God Bess? The dwarf?
Yeah.
Okay. That dwarf, like the one we see in Hathor temple on the front part, okay? This is one of the very early knitters in Egypt. And the famous style of Bess, he is holding the drum in his hand, okay? So this is the evidence that, of course, I have so many examples, but most of them are after the Old Kingdom and Middle Kingdom and New Kingdom. But I'm bringing you an example from the pre-dynastic Egyptian, very old example, even before the other civilizations like the Sumerians, like the Chinese. So Bess is one of the very early knitters, and he was represented always holding a drum in his left hand, and he's beating the drum with the right hand. The same for the flute, or the Eastern flute, that long bamboo plant. Okay, but it must be 7 courses or sections. Okay, that is also very ancient from the pre-dynastic time. So yes, ancient Egypt made the drums, the harp also, and the flute before everybody else.
Wow. I wish that I could be there and listen that kind of music.
Look, by visiting these sites nowadays, and you get the right explanation and the right tour, you can hear it, you can feel it.
Yes. I can't think about your experiences during visiting those temples. I mean, even me, when I'm there, it's totally a different dimension. Everyone should go and experience it. It's beyond. I don't know.
Yes, and I can tell you, look, I visited these sites for more than 5,000 times now. Okay, every time as if it's my first time, about the feeling and about how I'm excited. Okay, like someone asked me this question and he told me, Mohammed, I bet you are bored from seeing the pyramids. I told him, no, I see the pyramids every day from the balcony, and as it is my first time every time. And when I go to the site itself, I feel like I am the client, not the tour guide. I get excited to get close and touch it, because I feel what you say. The place touches my body and my heart. So I feel the energy. That's why I feel very excited.
Yeah. And I'm gonna ask you a strange question. I actually, I forgot the name. There was a special island where the temple of Horus and Sobek there, and there was a special museum only for the crocodiles.
Komombo.
Yes, Komombo.
Yes.
So I think there are some mummified crocodiles, and also some eggs, some little baby crocodiles.
Yes.
Were they trying to cloning these crocodiles, or what was the intention?
Yeah, this is the strange question, yes. No, I didn't think about it, okay, but the basic answer will tell you no, because the place was dedicated to Horus, the falcon, and Sobek, the crocodile. So it will be okay to find the crocodile animal, there because it is part of the religion, if we can call it religion. But I think no. Sobek here, the function of Sobek in the place was, or the crocodile now, was a way to teach the Egyptian people, or maybe special members like the warriors, or like some of the special forces, how to digest their fears and emotions. So you look to them as if they are statues. You don't know if they are happy or angry by watching the crocodile, and also by facing a very terrifying experiment. Some people say that there is that shaft near or on the side of Komombo temple has a connection under the ground to another shaft in the other side. And this tunnel is full of crocodiles, or was full of crocodiles. And the warrior will jump, swim through the crocodiles to the other side to show that he is, he deserves to become one of the special forces members, like SWAT. Okay. So I think they were raising or breeding the crocodiles in a special farm. And that's why they have the eggs and they have the small or the baby crocodiles for that reason. And they mummified them to show respect and to show that those animals were very or highly important to this type of function in ancient Egypt. But who knows, maybe yes, they were maybe not cloning, but maybe they were doing some kind of analysis, okay, to figure out if they need some kind of medicine, or they can extract medicine from the skin of the crocodiles. Maybe. Because don't forget again, every time we have a question like this, we must put the word chemet in front of us. Chemistry, alchemy. So the Egyptian chemician or the chemician were masters. No, sorry, not masters. They invented, and by the way, we shall not say they were professional or masters. No, they are the ones who invented this science, chemistry. Okay.
So what we are saying is they prefer crocodiles to hawks.
Yes.
It's not fair.
No, in that location only.
But we couldn't find any mummified hawks, I guess, right?
No, we did. We have hundreds of it.
Really?
Oh, yes, so many.
Where?
Look, okay, you must know something very important. Not because we didn't find something, it means it didn't exist. Okay, it is just we didn't find it. Or it was found by somebody else and was taken or destroyed, okay? But we have mummies of falcons in many sites in Egypt, and we have in the Egyptian Museum some mummies for falcons. And there is a mummy of a falcon, like it is super example, and they made the layers of the cloth between the feathers. And no, it is one of the best examples, even better than the shape of the human mummies.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting. Are you enjoying our interview, by the way?
Yeah, you ask me very hard questions, and I love hard questions.
Okay. Are you ready? If you are ready, I'm going to ask another strange question.
Very ready, don't worry.
Okay. About the story of Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, there was a fight between two brothers, and the evil one is cutting his own brother, you know?
Yes, yes.
So I'm not so sure about the real meaning of this story. Because if I'm not wrong, at the end of the day, Isis is flying all over the Egypt and trying to find all the parts and that kind of things. Is it some kind of symbols? I mean, the heart was some special place about heart chakra or love, the other part. Is there something meaning?
Yes, of course. Look, this story is full of meanings and full of symbols. The first symbol is something natural, the first message to us. Because when we say Set killed Osiris, okay, do you want to hear something strange? That
Yes.
every year, okay, every year, Set is killing Osiris. Still happening.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is Set? According to the Egyptian mythology, Set is the angry red knitter.
Okay.
Okay. And who is Osiris? Osiris is the nice green person or knitter, right? Set is the knitter of the Egyptian desert. And every spring, every year, we receive, and you, even in Turkey, you receive the same thing. What do you receive from Egypt in springtime?
The wind.
Exactly.
From the
The
desert.
wind was what? Was sand,
Yes.
right? So you call it the Hamasin, or we call it here Hamasin.
Okay.
Okay. So this is Set, and the Greenland is Osiris. Okay. So Set, angry, and the hot wind with the sand will cover the valley and will destroy so many of the crops and the seeds. And I remember my grandfather used to be in bad mood every year because his corn dies every year because of the sandstorms. Okay. So we have this kind of scenario is repeated every year. And I think the Egyptians, when they put this story, they were talking about natural story, not something they invented. But yes, you are right. Every location received certain part of the body. It has a certain meaning. And we know some for sure. Like I'll give you an example. In Fila Island in Aswan, we know that this place received the left leg of Osiris. Okay, and when we look to when we read the books of I don't know what kind of subject it is, but that field talks about the zodiac and how it affects your body. Okay, so the zodiac connected with water, what we call it, the water container.
Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay, so the left leg is the symbol of Aquarius, or an old symbol of Aquarius. And guess what? The ancient Egyptians used to say that the source of the Nile, which is water, is from this island, from Fila Island, or Bega Island, the opposite island. Okay? So as if they imagine that because this place is the place of water and maybe the place of the symbol Aquarius, so that is why it received the left leg of Osiris. Okay?
Wow.
Abydos, the head of Osiris. Okay? And that's why Abydos became the very famous place for pilgrimage for all the ancient Egyptians. And guess what? That story of head was repeated in many stories in later civilizations, even in the Islamic civilization. Here in Egypt, we have, and I believe you visited El Hussein Mosque, or have you seen it in Khal Khalili? Okay. The local Egyptian story is saying that the head of El Hussein, the grandson of Mohammed, is buried there. And all those imams and mausoleums in Egypt is talking about the head is being buried in this place, okay? As if it is a copy from the ancient story of Osiris, okay? But unfortunately, we don't know for sure about all the parts of Osiris, where they were buried. We are not very sure about most of them, okay? But we know a few, and all what we know, or the pieces we know about, we know why or what kind of importance for the place. Like I told you, Abydos and Fila Island.
Yeah. Wow. My eyes are getting bigger and bigger while you are telling us. While you were talking, you talk about the zodiac,
Mhm.
and this is one of the most unfortunate event for me that normally you have the greatest zodiac map, astrological map at Temple of Hathor, but
Yeah.
unfortunately now it is in France.
And Louvre, yes.
And it is so sad to know this, but
Mhm.
can you also talk about the Egyptian astrology a little bit?
Yes, also one of the things I feel sorry about it when they talk about the ancient knowledge about the stars and the cosmos, they mention the Chinese and they mention the Greeks and they don't mention the Egyptians.
Yes.
And they tell you because the Egyptians didn't write a book or something in one piece about this, which is crazy. I'm just mentioned to you that small piece of a stone, we call it the cosmic cow. Do you know the age of that piece is almost 4,000 BC? So even, I'm not talking about the advanced Egyptians, even the pre-dynastic Egyptians were aware with the stars and the outer universe. Not only this, but they were aware with the movements of the stars together and the alignment and constellations like Orion Belt. And they give it a name, Sahu. And one of the very famous Egyptian rulers from the 5th dynasty, the one who built his pyramid at Abu Sir, called Sahu Ra. His name is the Orion Belt. The word Sahu means Orion Belt. The word Sobdet, that is Sirius star. So the ancient Egyptians were not just telling you there is a star there. No, it has a meaning and identity. Okay, Mars, they call it red Horus. Okay, red like the color of Mars, and so many examples like this. And they have in the tomb of Ramses V and VI in the Valley of the Kings. The ceiling is full of star constellations like the Big Bear and the Dragon constellation. In Ramses III tomb, which is very important for me, they show like squares on the sky, and in each square there is like 5 stars, and in another square only 1 star, and in another square 10 stars, as if it is like a map for the universe. Okay, it is not design or drawing. No, I see it as a map. Okay, and we talk about stars. I need to mention something also. You may want to ask about it. Stargates. Are you
Okay.
going to start to ask about it?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, in many places, but especially Dandara Temple and Abydos Temple, okay, you see the word star, we call it Sab, and there is a gate next to it, and then the name of the king, okay? That wasn't repeated with all the kings. Only few kings have that title, Stargate. So the king himself was called Stargate, okay? And it is very obvious, it is very clear, star with a gate. Can you read it something else? Right? But in Dandara temple, I found something different. I found that there is no the title of the king anymore, just the star gate alone.
Oh.
But this time, one gate has different numbers of a star, and the other gate in the other side of the door has another number of, as if this is leading to 18 stars, and this one is leading to 10 stars only. This to a galaxy, and this to a different galaxy. And the symbol above the head of Hathor, I see it also as a star gate. Okay, we need hours to explain it,
Yeah.
but it is a very unique design above the head of Hathor, the shape of the gate with the cobra in the middle. What does it mean, cobra? Many people will tell you protection. No, the cobra here is the wavy line to the stars. And we call this line or this path in our modern time wormhole, right? But the ancient Egyptians call it cobra hole, which is the same meaning,
Oh,
okay?
wow.
A wavy line. Okay.
Cobra hole is a cooler name than wormhole. Come on.
Exactly.
I don't know if you ever make a research about it, but even with my little tiny knowledge about ancient Egyptians and ancient Indians, there are lots of similarities between two very powerful civilizations. For example, they both use cobra as a very sacred symbol.
Mhm.
And also you have the river of Nile and they have the river of Ganges. And you have a blue god and they also have a blue god and that kind of things. You think they were talking about the same reality, or it was just a coincidence?
Can you hear me now? Because they...
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, look, if I say that there was no connection, I will be wrong, very wrong. I believe that there was connection in a very strong way. Because again, as I said, I believe that the beginning was one for all of us, okay? And then we started to be branches and groups, but there was connection. And that connection wasn't just sending some goods and some kind of other stuff like gold or ebony. No, it was also a trade of knowledge in between. Like what is happening nowadays. In our modern time, we all share the knowledge. Like in Egypt, we didn't, this computer I'm talking to you through now, we didn't make it in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
But we are using this technology in Egypt. And we are using all the technologies, the same like other parts of the world, okay? So I think the same in ancient Egypt. If they didn't share the original knowledge together, at least they shared the later knowledge, like in dynastic time. So I believe during dynastic time, which was till 3000 BC, they were sharing the same knowledge, like a priest or a scientist went there and he taught them either sides, okay? Taught them how to do this and do that, and what about the philosophy and the knowledge. So they started to talk about the same symbols. But my opinion that before this, before 10,000 BC, no, because all of them were in one place, so all of them had the same knowledge and they practiced the same thing. But when the disaster happened and people had to run and to hide and to escape, and then this disaster ended and they had to come up to the ground again. So because maybe they used to live under the ground and because they separated, but in their memories, in their DNA, they still have the knowledge of the ancestors. So they started to talk about the same symbols, one in far east, one in far west, one in the middle, but they still have the same memories. Okay, that's why even without connection, they still share the memories of the ancestors. So that is the reason.
Wow. Okay, I know that I ask so many questions and I can keep asking questions till morning, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you some very light question before we are saying goodbye to each other. What is your favorite place in Egypt? And who is your favorite pharaoh? And who is your favorite god or goddess?
Okay. My favorite place in Egypt, of course, the pyramids outside the comparison, okay? Because they are going to win anytime. So outside the pyramids, Karnak Temple. That is my favorite place in Egypt and maybe in the whole world. If I go anywhere, Karnak is still, because I traveled to Lebanon, to Jordan, and Baalbek Temple in Lebanon was amazing, but Karnak is still the best, okay?
Yes.
But again, the pyramids outside this story.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite pharaoh, and I don't like the word. I always say in my lectures, we didn't have pharaohs in Egypt, and the word pharaoh is not correct. That is because of the religious story. So that pharaoh was a certain person. So the Egyptian kings, okay, they didn't have the title pharaoh.
Oh.
Yeah. So my favorite king is Thutmose III. Thutmose III is my favorite because of many reasons. And he is one of the holders of that title, Stargate.
Wow.
Okay. And my favorite knitter, okay, is Bitah.
Bita.
Bitah.
Okay.
Bitah, the one with the like a mummy shape with the skull. Okay. Bitah is the husband of Sekhmet, by the way.
Wow.
Yes. And both of them had the child Nefertom, the
Oh.
beautiful creation or creature. Okay, Bitah was the symbol of wisdom and knowledge in ancient Egypt. So that is my favorite knitter.
Wow. I thought that there was another netter in the head of an ibis, the bird.
Yes,
Uh,
Tos.
Thought, yes.
Yes.
Wasn't he the energy of knowledge and wisdom?
Yes, but Tos here, look, the word knowledge and wisdom is not the same when we repeat that. Tos is, let me tell you, the knowledge of a professor
Hmm.
is Tos. Okay, who knows numbers, calculations, and recipes, and will tell you do 1, 2, 3. So that is tough. Okay, the other type of wisdom, like an old man, old wise man. Okay, who is about social life, about what you do in your life. That is bitah.
Hmm.
Okay, you got the point.
Yes.
Us
He's the
is
old
like
wise
a
man.
teacher, wise teacher. Bitah is like a wise.
Okay. Are you with me?
Okay. So I will say it again. So Tos had the wisdom of a professor connected with science and connected with academic level. And Bitah has the wisdom of an old man and the wisdom of, let's say, the actions in the universe. Okay, what shall we do and what we shall not do? But both are great wisdoms. Okay.
Mohammed, thank you so much for this wonderful interview.
You are very welcome.
I hope to see you in Egypt one day with my crew from Turkey, and we can visit all these beautiful places together with your wisdom and knowledge. Evet, sanıyorum. Mohammed, are you with me?
Yes. Yes, now I am with you.
Okay. So I hope one day we can come to your beautiful country and we can make a tour with you through your wisdom and knowledge about these ancient civilization.
It would be a great opportunity me to me. And I did you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
I'm saying yes. That is will be great opportunity for me too. Okay, because I love hard questions. And I believe in the near future we will have this tour together. One in Egypt and one in Turkey.
İnşallah. I'm looking forward to do them. All the best. Have a nice night.
You're welcome.
See you.
Good night. Bye bye.
Evet arkadaşlar, sevgili Muhammed'le upuzun bir röportaj gerçekleştirdik. Kafamdaki bütün deli soruları sordum. Kendisi de cevapladı. İnşallah yeniden kendisiyle buluşuruz. Bizi izlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Hoşça kalın.